There's a new concern today regarding the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine. The FDA is warning of a possible increased risk of a rare neurological condition. It is known as Guillain-Barré syndrome. There are just 100 suspected cases out of more than 12 million Americans who received the J&J single-dose vaccine. And while a majority of those cases were serious and required hospitalization, most people made a full recovery. Dr. Dyan Hes is the founder of Gramercy Pediatrics in New York City. She is joining us now to discuss this. So listen, I'm really glad that you were able to join us right off the top because, you know, we hear about these issues with this vaccine and other vaccines, but I think that putting things in context, weighing the risk versus the benefits, it's always really important. I don't want people to be freaking out. So first off, can you explain what this rare syndrome is and do we even know who's most at risk?
Yeah, in their analysis, they see that men over the age of 50 are most at risk. And remember, this isn't even a 0.0001%. This is, I did the calculation. I always do that. It's like 0.00007% risk of getting Guillain-Barré. So Guillain-Barré is an ascending paralysis. It's usually post-viral. We actually do see it with other immunizations. It can happen after other immunizations. It notably happened after a swine flu immunization was given in the 70s. And what it is that the paralysis ascends from your feet upwards through your body, and ultimately, in a worst case scenario, would affect your breathing. And those are the patients who end up in the hospital because they cannot ventilate well, and they end up on a ventilator. Now, that being said, out of these cases of Guillain-Barré that are reported by J&J, there was one death, and I guess in the 99 other cases, those patients made a recovery. We need to see more of the data, more of the patients. Were they at risk? What were their underlying illnesses? Were there underlying illnesses? That being said, the risk of getting COVID and dying is so much higher, and getting long hauler syndrome and other complications from COVID, that this is still a very safe vaccine.
But you know, there are people that are going to hear this and they're going to say, isn't the Johnson & Johnson vaccine the same one that was linked to these rare blood clots? And if they haven't received a vaccination yet, it's going to just add sort of fuel to the fire. Whatever's holding them back, they're going to say, there's another thing that you got to be concerned about. You know, how do you respond to those people?
Well, I completely agree. Like, the PR is done for Johnson & Johnson. It's going to be a very hard sell in the United States. But in the United States, you can still get Pfizer and Moderna, and we need to do better. We need all of our adults to be getting vaccinated so our children can go back to school, so schools can be open, so kids don't have to wear masks in school. Right now, children are bearing the burden of wearing masks because adults are not doing their job getting vaccinated. That's my number one thing. Number two, Johnson & Johnson does not require ridiculously low temperatures for refrigeration/freezer. And in third world countries where COVID is rampant, Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca are what is going to stop this pandemic. I mean, as a doctor, if I do a house call and I have to take a vaccine on ice, it is a big deal. I have to carry it, pack it, make sure it's at a low temperature. Now, that's just at -4 degrees. If I'm a doctor in India or Brazil or, you know, anywhere in South America in the jungle, and I have to carry a Pfizer vaccine at -95 degrees, that is never going to get to my patients, and it's never going to get administered. So Johnson & Johnson is and AstraZeneca are what we need in countries where they don't have a good cold chain, and it is going to stop this pandemic, and we need to do better getting it out there.
So speaking of the Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca shots that have this minor issue with blood clots, they are working on modifications to reduce or eliminate the blood clot risk. Do we have any idea how quickly that may be implemented?
No, because they don't even know what component of the vaccine right now is causing the blood clot risk. So many independent scientists are working on this, but they haven't released it if they know, but from what I've read, they don't know what's causing it.
All right, so yesterday representatives from Pfizer met with U.S. scientists to discuss the need for a COVID booster shot. After the meeting, officials said that more data was needed and that it could be months before a decision is made. What's your take on this booster debate? We know that the CDC and the FDA both issued a statement saying, listen, Americans don't need a booster shot, at least at this time. Pfizer is saying, hey, I think we may need one.
I have to say, I follow the Israelis with this. The Israelis started giving the vaccine earlier than the rest of us, and they're seeing a resurgence of COVID. They're seeing more of the Delta variant in patients who were already vaccinated. And what they're doing right now is they're vaccinating their most vulnerable, the heart transplant patients, the elderly, whose immune systems are weaker. I mean, if we have the vaccine, why not offer it to people? Let it be a patient's choice if they want to get a booster or not. You know, I agree that we're testing only antibodies, and that doesn't measure your humoral response, your T cell response. So we might have longer lasting antibodies in our body, or longer lasting immune properties against COVID, but we can't measure them. But if Israel is the test site for Pfizer, and they're saying, we are seeing this, we are seeing new hospitalizations, maybe not deaths, but new hospitalizations in patients with, who were previously vaccinated, give the third vaccine to those at risk. We have enough. We have the supply chain.
So my kid was one of the kids that went to camp last summer. The camp it was mostly outdoors. Everyone wore masks, all that sort of stuff. I really didn't hear about very many outbreaks of COVID. I heard of some last summer, but not a lot. But now we're getting reports of COVID outbreaks at summer camps in Texas and Illinois, Florida, Missouri. I don't know if it's because maybe the same precautions that were implemented last year are not in place now. But could this be a preview of things to come once kids start heading back to the classroom, particularly if, some of the same, measures that had been put in place maybe this past school year, if you had kids in the classroom, some of them are going to be reduced. So are we going to start to see outbreaks in schools?
I hope not. I think that when I read about those camps that had outbreaks, they were really poorly run. First of all, the counselors were not mandated and the directors were not mandated to be vaccinated. So the adults are the ones bringing the virus into camp, not the campers. And I have to state this over and over again. It is not the children. It is the adults who are bringing the virus in. So we have to have measures. Instead of penalizing our children, closing schools, hybrid schools, online schools, we need to make sure that all teachers get vaccinated, all persons working in schools are vaccinated, or you wear your mask 24/7. I don't care what your state says. If you are not vaccinated and you're an adult around children, you should be wearing a mask. That is selfish. That is pure, anti-science selfishness. That's how I feel about it. I had a patient who just came back from Austria, and her kids were in school every single day unmasked because all the teachers were vaccinated, and the country is doing so well in immunizing the adults that her kids went to school unmasked, and they only had to wear masks in the hallways where the other kids interacted with each other. That is a country that got this right. And I think we have to do better. And I think America is going to have to mandate that adults get vaccinated. That's really what it's going to come down to.
It's so interesting because it's been a year and a half now, and it really does seem at times like we're still sort of flopping around trying to figure out how to move forward. And this is, I think, a bit of an example of that. Yesterday, state officials in California banned students who don't wear masks from college campuses. And then they reversed the decision a few hours later because there's a big uproar. The state has a mask mandate, though, for kids grades K through 12. I know throughout this whole pandemic, you have been saying kids need to be in school. They need to be in class. We can manage this because there are health implications. Other than COVID, there are health implications of them being out of the school. So what is your take on, making sure that kids, when they go back in September or at the end of August, whatever your return time is, that they're wearing masks? And what do you think of California's sort of flip-flop on the college campus mandates?
I think that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And I think that's the problem. They're making decisions in haste, and they're not basing their decisions in science. They're letting politics influence their decisions. I think that if you are vaccinated 12 and up, you don't need to wear a mask. That's my personal feeling. I really feel that these kids went out there, their parents got them the vaccine, they did it so they can return to school. And those kids are really low risk of catching COVID, and they're low risk of spreading COVID. And I don't think that they should have to wear a mask. I think under the age 12, if you want your child to wear a mask, you should absolutely 100% let them wear a mask. But I don't think you have to have a mask, because I feel that there are so many other repercussions of mask wearing and going to school. I have patients who are so sick right now, going to camp, wearing masks in the daycare, in the schools, and they're just wearing these little boogie rags. That's literally what it is. We have RSV outbreak, we have the regular coronavirus spreading, we have para-influenza. I mean, every single kid that I did a viral panel on last week is positive. Not for COVID, they're positive for other viruses. So, is that mask stopping the spread of the viruses? I don't really think so. I think it's just a breeding ground for other viruses right now. And coronavirus is so low, luckily in New York, that we're not seeing a real major spread of coronavirus yet. But I feel that the schools need to be opened. They could use, other precautions about cleaning and good hand washing and encourage that and keep the schools open, because we have kids with severe speech delay, kids who can't read lips, who are deaf, and we have kids who need to see facial expressions. We have kids with learning disabilities. We need all our kids back in school. The rate of suicide has skyrocketed, depression. We can't get a patient into a mental health worker for 6 months in New York because so many kids have so many repercussions of being isolated. Yes. And that would be a good scenario, 6 months.
Wow, that is epidemic 2.0 in a way. Hey, Dr. Dyan Hes, it's always good talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.